What's going on, everybody? Despite putting out various total gym or sliding bench trainer workouts and programs, and also just addressing various training variables with these machines, I still get a lot of questions regarding how I personally choose a rep range, or how maybe you should choose a rep range, how many sets I do, or again, should somebody do typically in a workout, how many times to work a particular body part. People ask me, do I track my total gym progress? Or related to that, people just wonder, is there a certain way to approach just progressing the machine, progressing the exercises set to set? So I thought I'd provide some answers to these questions while just showing you a typical workout where I'm not following any kind of a template as I normally do when I'm posting workouts for you guys to use. Not that those don't represent what I do or recommend, but usually I take a more instinctive approach, or you could say a more random approach. I guess it's sometimes when, say I'm doing an upper or lower body workout, which I'll just kind of add, mostly what I've been doing, even though I've kind of presented a number of different programs, I've pretty much been following an upper and lower body split, which I'll kind of talk about a little bit in this video. So basically, I'll discuss what's going on through my mind in a typical upper body workout in this case. I don't expect this will clear up all the questions, as there's always going to be some level of individuality when approaching using a total gym or sliding bench trainer. But hopefully this video, as with all my videos, will be making training using a total gym all the more easier to follow. That's my ultimate goal with this video. So I will put some links down below. I will put some timestamps, hopefully to kind of clear up some different parts of this video so it's easier to kind of watch. But otherwise, I'll be tackling this general workout and answering some questions as I go along with this. And as always, if you guys like this content, please consider liking and subscribing. It's always helpful. Now, one question I think is worth addressing right off the bat, because I get this so often, is people will ask me, is this the only form of exercise that I'm doing, or the only form of resistance training that I'm doing? Or people just simply ask, am I really using this machine, or am I just posting videos? I understand that question, especially if you're not watching all my videos and all my content, if you're not really kept up to it, and you're a new subscriber. Yes, this is all this is my only form of resistance training. I say pretty much because I would say over the last year and a half, I was doing a little bit with resistance bands and using my adjustable dumbbells, but definitely, especially over the last 3 or 4 months, this has been the only form of resistance training that I've been doing. And I would say on average over the last year and a half, this has been 90, 95, 99+% of my training has been coming from this. Yes, I will get off and do some like calisthenic stuff, bodyweight stuff, use the pull-up bar. I do use my Concept 2 rower. I use my Cellerciser. I go for some go outside and do some walking or running, or use my weight vest once in a while. But in general, as far as resistance training is concerned, this is all I'm using. And since I got this here, you guys see I'm using the Great Flex machine, showing some love to this machine a little bit. This was up in my garage, so I kind of brought it downstairs to kind of use and break out a little bit. People also ask me what's my thoughts again between the Great Flex and the Total Gym. They're so incredibly similar, honestly, between this model and my Fit model. My wife actually prefers the Great Flex. She likes the kind of the glide and the smoothness of it. I actually like the glide more of the Total Gym. It's a little bit more, it gives a little bit more resistance. But the Great Flex actually does have some other benefits, like a longer cable, comes with more attachments. They are incredibly similar, but again, I prefer my Total Gym with a slight edge. I just like the way it kind of glides, versus the Great Flex has a smoother, I wouldn't say easier, more of like a slicker glide. I just prefer the Total Gym's glide. But again, they're incredibly similar machines as far as how they operate and function. Now, to get into some details about how I approach a typical workout, in this case an upper body workout, that's what I'll explain right here. You guys saw at the start of the video, you saw how I essentially am starting out this, or how I started out this workout. I really have no general template in my brain about what I'm doing. I made a few videos about some of the staple exercises I like to kind of go to. But for the most part, I used to do something when I did upper body workouts. I'd have more of a chest focus or shoulder focus. When I got to those two body parts, I would rotate those on different upper body days. But now I pretty much do a variety of push-related exercises, multi-joint push-related exercises, so shoulders and chest-related pushing. And then I will do some pulling, a variety of different back movements, basically multi-joint pulling movements. By multi-joint, I mean like my shoulders and my elbows are moving. And then throughout that, I'll interplay some single joint arms, shoulder stuff, let's say like, lateral raises, frontal raises, and then some single joint arm stuff like biceps and triceps in the workout. I'm oftentimes really breaking a lot of these foundational program design rules. Some of these things I've even outlined to you guys in the various program design videos I've made for the Total Gym. By that, I mean I'm doing a lot of single joint exercises at the front of the workout or in between other multi-joint exercises where traditionally it's always going to be recommended that you save these single joint exercises, biceps, triceps, single shoulder raises, isolated shoulder exercises. You save those towards the end after you do your multi-joint pressing and pulling. Just because if you do a lot of those single joint exercises, theoretically you'd be exhausting and kind of limiting how much you could do with as far as like multi-joint pressing and pulling. Now, I just kind of do that mostly because it's just a little more enjoyable to me. I find it's not really hindering my overall progress in the machine. And if I feel like it really was, if I'm doing a little, I won't really go too overboard with the single joint stuff. But if my point is, I just kind of more or less do it because I just enjoy it. And I'm still seeing progress. And if it's someone, I understand for some people it's a little bit different. Like my wife, for instance, she finds that, you know, doing simple rows like this one right here is hard enough just to get 10. So I would recommend for someone like her, you know, don't do that single joint stuff first, because yeah, that's going to make these rows all the more harder. On an exercise like this, you can see this is an example of me just changing angles up. I've been finding this, I mentioned this in a few videos, I'm flaring my elbows out a little bit more. I'm really focusing on my mid back, but even simply sitting up like I was right there on the machine, that makes a difference. In fact, you'll see me do a few different angles where I'll sit further back on the machine to kind of feel different angles. Basically, I'm changing exercise positions and even exercises mid-set a lot of the times just based on really the big key of what I'm kind of telling you guys is when I say feeling, I'm talking about feeling of the individual muscles. If I feel like I'm just not getting anything out of it, change the angle, change the position, change the exercise. Obviously, you could do more reps, you could change the tempo, but that's something I tell to a lot of people. I would rather just say to you guys right now, ignore the rep ranges altogether. If you do more, if you do less, that's fine. The main thing is, did you feel like your muscles really got worked? So, and then that kind of goes with just transitioning and switching up exercises. Sometimes you saw me do there, I probably did at least 15 to 20 repetitions of the bicep curl. And that was, I took some little pauses in there to kind of give myself some little break, but I did some extra reps, and then I went right back into those pullovers to kind of give my biceps a rest. And then after going to a pullover, working my lats and my back, now I'm going into some pressing. You can see here as I'm doing this chest press, I'm already in the middle of the set. I wasn't telling myself I'm just going to do close grip presses. I started doing close grip presses because that's what I started feeling more of in this workout. And the last workout I emphasized and really thinking about stretching my chest, but then kind of trying to squeeze in the mid chest. You saw me even do an incline chest there presses too as well. So literally mid set on one exercise, I'm constantly kind of changing things up. Even this bicep curl, you can see I got a few reps here, gave myself a little bit of a break. You could argue, and maybe I should just, some people might call this failure. I wouldn't necessarily call it failure as I'm taking breaks. I just kind of focus on, you know, really working the muscle a lot. I'm really rarely just doing a set of 10, and if I didn't feel anything, I'll just stop there. I'm doing as many reps, switching up as many angles as possible until I feel like that particular body part really felt like it was kind of fairly worked in that set, then I'll move on. Same thing here with this shoulder press. Now this, I'm really only doing this. This is an example of me mixing it up. I like this exercise, this double press, and you can do this a lot easier on a Great Flex versus a Total Gym because of the cable length. But I'll be honest, I actually like the inverted shoulder press more, which is why you'll see me do this a little bit more in this workout. But then I will go ahead and attach my the pull-up bar wing dip attachment, and I'll go ahead and do some shoulder presses as well, which is why right here you see me kind of going into some isolated shoulder exercises. I did that multi-joint shoulder press, but then I got a few more extra out of that just because I didn't really feel that one as much, had some more in the tank, so I just kind of threw those in there. And then just kind of going right back into biceps. I have no idea in my head when I'm doing these workouts if I did 5 sets of biceps or 10 sets of biceps. That might sound crazy. I would say on average, and you guys could probably count this if you really wanted to see what I'm getting, because this is a good average of what I'm doing. Even these pullovers, I feel like already in this video I've probably done at least 4 or 5 sets of pullovers. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I understand this might be confusing to some people when they want some like order in the workouts. My whole thing to you guys is just have fun. If you focus on trying to work all the body parts, not just overdo one thing, especially if you're doing something like this, like upper body. If you focus on saying, you know, this gets into, someone asked a question about this earlier I was going to talk about, where I recommended Paul Chek's movement patterns, where he talks about, approaching a workout, doing push, pull, squat, bend, twist, and gate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking too fast. Basically, that there's different movement patterns we want to hit. And when I approach the total gym, I'm kind of thinking that way in a simple way from just on the upper body. I'm telling myself I want to get some pushing, I want to get some pulling, and then, I'll do some isolated exercises as well mixed in there. And overall, I'm just kind of doing a little bit of everything. I mean, if you know nothing else, if you don't know anything about the muscles, if you don't know anything about, as far as like what's the ideal sequence of things, just use your common sense, work the muscles, make sure it's fluid, focus on technique for sure. But if if something feels a little hard, move on to the next one. That last exercise you saw, those flies, I can't do a lot of them, but that's an example of more high intensity fly. Not everybody can do that, but I squeezed out maybe 3 or 4 reps just because I wanted to just kind of work that and kind of stress that. Just felt good to kind of do something that's a little harder intensity. Then I go right back to something that's a little bit easier, and I finished up those flies doing some regular chest presses, and now I'm going to further exhaust my triceps, or just working in that chest press into some lying tricep extensions. Now you might be kind of curious about, people ask me, well, what about the height of the tower? Am I keeping track of what I'm doing week to week? Same thing with my exercise selection and my reps. I have no idea. The tower sometimes stays right where it is. Usually when I start a workout, the tower kind of stays where it is for a while. Generally then once I increase it, like you saw here, then I'll just kind of, go through some exercises that are at this high angle. Then I'll choose some pulling, choose some pushing exercises at this high angle. I would say it's a good way to kind of thinking about, here's an example too about how I was up high. Now I'm sitting further back in the machine. I dropped my elbows a little bit lower. And this also is kind of working a different angle. I'm kind of increasing the tension, doing something a little bit different that way. Even the grip, as I cross the grip, that makes a difference. As I was saying, back to the tower thing, the tower was raised on those last few exercises. I just left it where it was, and I threw the Pilates bar in because I wanted to work something that was getting a little bit higher intensity, work this tower angle, so I threw that in there. Certainly, you could go ahead and keep, throw that tower down and up between exercises. For the most part, I'd really like to kind of keep things moving. I guess that's another theme throughout all my workouts when I'm using the total gym, is I just kind of keep things flowing for the most part. Here you can see I did throw the push-up bars in, or the wing dip bars in, so I'm gonna know that in this one I'm gonna do a lot more reps in my head. If I'm gonna set these up in my brain, I'm not just gonna do 1 or 2 sets. I'll get at least 3 or 4 sets in here. So knowing that I'm gonna do a lot of sets, I did go ahead and drop the tower down, but I certainly on some days could have left it high and could have made all these sets be a little bit higher intensity. So my point is, with everything, I know this might be annoying to some people. This is way too vague and too simplistic for some people's likings, and I totally understand. People want more structure. That's why I put the workouts and the programs there for you guys. But if you're someone like me, if you're someone who wants to work out, not worry about too much, just have fun with the machine, and you're thinking to yourself, well, it's impossible to get results, you have to be really ordered and regimented. You do not have to. If your goal is just to work your muscles, get some muscle definition, have your muscles feel good, like I said, just provide movement and resistance to your musculature, this would be the way to go, in my opinion. I don't think you have to overemphasize and overthink about, did I hit more of my back today? Did I hit more of my chest that day? I think you'll kind of know. I mean, I think just go with, if I'm switching exercises, I'm doing it organically. I'm not going to, for instance, leave this up here and just do a bunch of back exercises, sequentially for 30 minutes. I haven't talked about that. I will do a video about that if you want to do single muscle training. I kind of like doing a little bit of this because you're moving around a little bit more, because if you're going to just do one body part a day, like just shoulders, just back, then you're going to have to take longer rest periods between sets. Take at least 60 seconds between sets to kind of rest those back muscles you just did. But if you're doing what I'm doing here, which is what I prefer to do, which another reason why I like doing this is because I have stuff in the background. I'm really listening to music or listening to podcasts or videos. So to me, it's just this is just relaxing. I'm not having to kind of like mentally, think about my workouts and plan things out. This is what I like. So it requires you to kind of keep moving your body, especially if you want to get like a workout in like 30 minutes. The average run time of my workouts, even though this actually, I guess if you edited this video out, I took out a lot of the rest periods and me just kind of wasting time changing songs or whatever I was listening to on my computer, you can see that this really came down to 20 minutes. So my camera was recording about 30 minutes. So I'd say on average, really, if you want to, as far as the actual work that I'm doing per typical workout session, or I should say a total gym session, it really is probably like 20 to 30 minutes. That's my average like total work time. When you factor in rest periods and me wasting time, then yeah, I can go on 30 to 40 minutes. You certainly can get lost in this. Like, let's say, could I do this type of workout for 40 plus minutes, 60 plus minutes? I don't think I really would. I've done some longer workouts that go a little bit longer, but generally they're longer rest periods, and I'm maybe doing more total body. You could do that, but I'm gonna feel pretty, at least far as me in my age, getting in my upper 30s here. If I do a workout like that, like exactly what I'm doing here, but maybe stretch this out another 30 minutes, I could do it, but I'm going to be kind of beaten up, and I would probably naturally want to quit. So just like with the row machine, what I love about the total gym is that it really kind of tells you when to stop. If I'm going at this fast of a click, doing everything, kind of chaining everything together like this, really 30 minutes is my body's like, okay, you're done. Things feel like they're worked. You feel like you got a good exercise in for the day. It's a good time to stop. That's the same thing as with the row machine. If I'm doing a really faster row, like a 7 minutes higher intensity row versus a longer 20 minutes, regardless what I'm doing, that based on how hard I'm working, that row machine's gonna tell me, all right, once you hop off, you're done for the day. Now, could you progressively kind of chart your progress? And if you're someone who likes to really focus on, like, well, I did 10 reps today, tomorrow I did 15 reps, you certainly could do that. It's just really not fun for me to do that. I know one of you guys commented on a video earlier about how they it was basically freeing for them to kind of ditch the powerlifting type regimens where you're following numbers. And I commented that a lot of my powerlifting back in the day, I was doing a lot of math between sets, and yeah, that's fun for a certain time, and I may go back to that in the future. Maybe I'll miss that and I want to do that. But where I think the total gym shines for me personally is the fact that it's so freeing, it's so easy. I can do so much in such a limited amount of time. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I approach this machine. And so how my workouts are looking, recently, basically I follow a very simple upper and lower body approach, where I used to do things where I had certain things that I would do on certain days of the week and certain rest days. I've actually kind of gotten rid of that. My approach now is a lot more flexible, where my upper body days are workouts like you're seeing right here, where sometimes I might do some movement or some cardio stuff at the end, like some brief stuff, which actually I will do here at the end. You guys will see that. But then otherwise, the second day is either a total gym leg day related type workout, which honestly I've been kind of slacking on being consistent with those. If I'm not doing that on the second day, I'm either doing going on the row machine, I'm using my Cellerciser, or I've been kind of, like I've been telling you guys recently, I've been going outside and going for runs, pushing my kids in the stroller, doing more just kind of walking, running stuff up hills, doing stuff like that outdoors. But pretty much that's it, just an upper body day and then some sort of lower cardio or lower body resistance day. And then, like I said earlier, that sometimes I'll do something like this, where in this particular workout I just wanted to get a little more pulling in, a little more rowing, I should say a little more rowing type stuff. I was just kind of doing a lot more just general stuff in the total gym, and thought, I'll get some extra reps just through my rowing. So I kind of put the rower at a heavy setting, and I'm just going to do some more heavier, slower rows where I'm kind of really thinking about driving through my legs and kind of pulling more from my back. Just kind of emphasize more, just getting some more movement and reps out of my back and my arms. So that was kind of my thought process in this particular workout. So very flexible, very organic. These are all workouts that I enjoy doing. They're never grueling in the sense that I don't enjoy them. And I think with the mix of stuff that I'm using, they're all stuff that I find interesting and fun. And it makes just being consistent with a workout all the more easier. So that's it, you guys. Hopefully that provided some insight and some answers to some questions you guys might have had, and just maybe some insight into how I personally have been exercising in general. If you guys have any other questions or comments or feedback, definitely let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.